Bible gives instruction on how hard you can beat your slave. Oh yeah? Yep, Exodus 21:20. Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But they are not punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property. Right, this is a verse that's quoted often from typically atheists who think anyone should care about their subjective morality, but a lot of Christians struggle with this passage as well. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. So first of all, these slaves were indentured servants, meaning they served masters to pay off debts. This wasn't pre-Civil War African-American slavery where people were kidnapped and abused. This was the beginning of God bringing the Hebrews out of a barbaric state into a new way he was carving forward for them and ultimately the world. Okay. So if you go to verse 26 and 27 of that same chapter, it says that if a master hits a servant and damages an eye or chips a tooth, the master had to let the servant go free. Their contract was broken. Weird, isn't it? It's almost as if God was saying, don't abuse your servants because they're humans too. In fact, God repeatedly says to the Hebrews in various verses, you know what it was like to be a slave, so treat others like this. Fill in the blank. Really? Yeah. So back to the chapter, we see here God punished abusers by setting their servants free. This was a huge cost to them. Right. But if we go back to the verse you quoted, when it says, if they survive after a day or two, the master won't be punished, the word punished in Hebrew is the word nakam, which is specifically used regarding the death penalty. So no, if a servant was beaten and not killed, the master wasn't given the death penalty. But we know from verses 26 and 27 that abuse results in financial punishment. The servants were set free. Interesting. So no, this isn't giving instruction on how much they could abuse their servants. In fact, read it again. If they didn't recover after a day or two, what would it mean if they didn't recover after a day or two? What if it took 3 days, 4 days, or even a week? Well, according to the passage, the master would have been punished in that case. Exactly, and that punishment would have been death for the master.